Welcome to Global Med Talks, the podcast where we embark on a journey through the world of medicine and beyond. I'm your host Haider Ali, and I'm excited to be a guide as we explore a diverse range of topics, from sharing personal experiences to diving into medical stigmas, controversies and beyond. In some episodes, I'll try to bring on guest speakers, I'll try to dissect hot button issues and share practical tips for navigating both medical school and life. First of all, before we begin, for those who are interested, of course, if you're thinking about studying medicine or dentistry abroad, but you don't know where to start, then check out medconnect. They're an agency that helps students apply to these universities abroad. They guide you through the whole entire application process, visa support, and much more. Hit the link below and use a contact number in the bio to book a free one-on-one call for more info and guidance. It could be your first step towards becoming a doctor or dentist. Hey everyone, welcome back to Global Med Talks, a podcast where we dive into the real-life experiences of studying medicine abroad. I'm your host Haider Ali, and today we're exploring a topic a lot of future med students ask about. What's it like studying medicine in Bulgaria versus Georgia? From teaching styles and exams to student life and the challenges of living abroad. We're breaking it all down to help you make the most informed decision. And I'm not doing it alone. I've got two amazing guests with me today, both current med students in Bulgaria who will be sharing their honest perspectives and their real stories from their journey so far. So I've got two amazing guests, Inaam and Arafat. So Inaam and Arafat, can you please introduce yourselves, where you're from, where you study, and why you chose to do medicine in the first place?
Hi Heather, so my name is Inaam. I'm from the UK and I'm studying medicine at Medical University Plovdiv, or Plovdiv Medical University in Bulgaria. I've chosen medicine because I think it suits my personality. I think it suits my interest in people. I'm passionate about health. I am quite analytical. I enjoy problem solving. I think if it wasn't medicine, maybe I'd be doing maybe psychology and become a therapist. But I think for medicine's for me. I'm very much science oriented as well, so it made sense for me.
Yeah, no, that is a very good reason, to be honest. Well, Inaam, thank you for coming on. And Arafat, can you please introduce yourself as well, please?
Hi, Haider. My name's Arafat. I also study at the Medical University of Plovdiv. I'm actually Inaam's roommate, funnily enough.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I'm from the UK as well, from London, East London.
Okay.
Why I chose to study medicine? Well, always wanted to do medicine from a young age. Always wanted a job that would help people.
Yeah.
Also have that problem-solving aspect to it. Like, it's always been a lifelong dream to become a doctor. So that's really why I've always wanted to pursue it. And yeah, we've ended up in Bulgaria, so hopefully we can talk about experiences to you today.
Yeah, well, those are the exact same reason why I chose to do medicine as well. And obviously I've got a few personal reasons, but, like you said, problem solving, the passion, it all just ties in together. I think that's why most students chose to do medicine in the first place.
I'm very much of the school of thought, yeah, that not everyone should be doing podcasts, yeah, and that includes me, right? Yeah, so if I come across, you should definitely be doing podcasts. Inaam should definitely be doing podcasts. Me, I don't think so. If I come across a bit funky, like
no, you're fine, bro. You're okay.
I'm sure the audience will forgive you. Don't worry. I forgive
you. Nah, like, I think everyone should have podcasting license, all that. Me, I shouldn't be granted one. Do you know what I mean?
No, you should. If you have something to say, and I think you do, then this is right for you.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining me, both of you. I'm really looking forward to hearing your perspectives on everything from academics to social life. So, Inaam and Arafat, we actually we were together in Ukraine, but obviously due to some circumstances, we had to start again, and we had to part our ways. And obviously, you went to Bulgaria, and you had to start again from first year, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so we're in the same year, so we enrolled at the same time, applied at the same time. Yeah, and we lived together.
Yeah, I actually gave you a shout out in the first episode. I don't know if you realized.
No. Tell me about that. Wow.
Yeah, I gave you a shout out. I told everyone about the journey from Ukraine to Georgia, and I told everyone, me and Inaam and a few other people. We were on a call together. We were trying to figure the stuff out, and we were helping each other.
Brainstorming, yeah.
So I gave a shout out to you on the first episode. So just to put that out there.
Wow,
Oh,
you got a
thank you.
shout out,
Yeah.
man. I didn't even get a shout out, man.
Well, I'm
You honoured,
honored
man.
to have played a part in your journey, Heather.
No,
And
you
you've
have,
definitely
you
played a
have.
part in mine. So
Right, can I just
Yeah.
say, Inam talks about you a lot, Hader. Like when
yeah,
when we're when we're just chilling at home, he's just always like, "What's Hader doing now?" What's Hader doing? We miss you a lot, man. We miss you a lot.
yeah. Oh,
Likewise, man.
we
Likewise.
reminisce
I
all the
miss
time.
both of you, man. I miss
Yeah.
both of you. Honestly, Ukraine was a vibe, but you know, it's a shame that we
Absolutely.
had to start again and go on our own
No.
ways. But you know, shout out to Arafat as well because you know this guy is
Oh, I don't want
amazing,
it now,
amazing.
man. It's too late. I'm on the podcast now. Yeah, you know what I mean. There's no point shouting me out when I'm here, mate. You know what I mean? I got it.
Oh gosh. But anyway, guys, so how's Bulgaria been so far for you? Like, so basically, I was gonna break down this episode into a few different aspects. So quality of education, exam formats, life as an international student. So I'm just gonna start from the first point. I'm just gonna get the ball rolling. So
Yeah.
let's start off with the quality of education. So whoever wants to answer, how is the quality of education in Bulgaria?
Yeah, so I'm happy to take on that question.
Okay.
So first of all, I would say I feel like I should mention the course in general, what it's like. So me and Arafat are in second year, so we haven't covered much of the course, but I do
Right.
know some general things. So the first 2 years are preclinical.
Mm-hmm.
Years 3, 4, and 5 are clinical years, and then there's a 6 year as well. 6 years is a clinical year, but it's different to the other ones because it's a clinical clerkship.
Right. Okay.
So the course altogether is 6 years. We come out with a master's, and also if our clinical clerkship in the final year is recognized by, you know, for example, the GMC in the UK, where I think
Right.
most of the students here, most of the UK students want to work in the UK. If it's recognized in the UK, and so that would count as a clinical clerkship year by the UK standards. And but yeah, I'll stick to just talking about the course. So
Okay.
each semester is about 4 months. We have exams in January. We have exams in June and July. I'm sure that most students are aware that there's two different types of courses that you can get, especially in the UK. UK universities have moved towards integrating the clinical, the preclinical and clinical years. So they've integrated it to the point where where it's not really split into preclinical and clinical, but it's very much traditional at PMU. So Plovdiv Medical University.
Okay.
So the lectures and seminars in the preclinical years are very much just pure sciences, and then it builds up into specialization of the sciences like biochemistry and physiology, and then it becomes more and more medical as you go on. The balance is about, I think, throughout the five, because it's the first 5 years that are lectures and seminars. The
Yeah.
final year, like I said, it's a clinical clerkship. So what you'll be doing is hospital rotations, right? So throughout the first 5 years, where we have lectures and seminars, it's about 40% lectures, 60% seminars. In the first and second year, which is what I've done so far, it's about 20 hours a week, including lectures. So that's about 4 hours every weekday. And then years 3, 4, and 5, you're doing about 30 hours a week. So it does increase in hours. So that's including lectures. So that's about 6 hours a day on average. But it really depends on your timetable. In terms of preclinical years, which is what I can really talk about. So lectures wise, attendance is not compulsory.
Okay.
So like I mentioned, like the 20 hours a week, that can be cut down to like 12 hours a week if you're not attending lectures. However, if attendance does drop in lectures, then they can send out a message and say, oh, not enough students are attending, I'm going to make attendance compulsory. So that can happen. The lecturers are really, really high quality, and I feel like I can say that because I've done a degree in the UK at University of Leicester, so I know what a top a red brick university is like in the UK, and the quality of the lectures. And I can tell you that at this university, I mean, these professors are they're very senior. They're highly qualified. It's definitely a privilege to be, if you're someone that appreciates, science, and you appreciate academia. It's definitely a privilege to be being taught by them. And I do encourage people to attend lectures, even though it's not compulsory. And I think everyone wants to know about, is the English going to be good? Because a lot of students are coming from English-speaking countries, or the lingua franca is English, even if they're coming from Western European country like Germany or something. It's like, well, they can speak English. How good is the English of the professors in Bulgaria? Well, I can say that in lectures, definitely, they have good English. Like at least half of the lecturers have very fluent English. Some of them, the English isn't great, but you have to bear in mind that these are also very talented communicators. These are people that are very experienced. They're great at what they do. They're amazing at teaching. So even if their English isn't that great, and they can still make the lectures really engaging. And I'm telling you, some of these lecturers, as soon as they start talking, you realize how talented they are. I can't say the same as this. I can't say that for all of them, but definitely some of them really, really stand out. And you just know as soon as they start talking that they're going to take you on a ride with the lecture content. There's one really great lecturer. She takes the microphone off the stand and then just starts walking around the lecture theatre and she asks people questions face to face, and it's really
She
engaging.
makes it quite interactive, doesn't she?
Yeah, definitely. Not every lecture does that, but the lectures that do it, that have the confidence to do it, they do it really well, and they don't necessarily put pressure on people to interact, but it's you feel like you want to anyway. Some of these professors are really talented, really highly qualified. Some of them are at the top of their game. We have a physiology professor who's got loads of publications. He's a medical consultant for a bunch of international sports federations and national sports teams of Bulgaria and other countries. I found out recently this guy, he founded a successful company called Nutrim, which is sports nutritional supplements. And they had just had like a exhibition like a few years ago in Dubai or something, like really successful company. My point is that some of these professors really at the top of their game, and it's definitely worth building rapport with them, getting to know, in terms of networking, if you're interested in the business side of things, this guy has his company. If you're interested in research, which, definitely you have to be, if you're studying medicine, you have to care about research because, you have to build up your portfolio. It's really important to try and get publications, before graduating, after graduating, whatever. So it's great to have connections. But yeah, on the topic of lectures, so the actual content, so in terms of access, it's not available to download usually because, of course, it's their intellectual property. These are people that take academia really seriously, and that's their work. And so, but it's accessible on Microsoft SharePoint. So that's what we usually use. And of course, they'll recommend textbooks for further reading. But I would say that the lecture material is enough for a high grade. I don't think you need to do extra reading and use textbooks. Maybe for electives and things like that. But yeah, so apart from lectures, we have seminars. So for seminars, attendance is compulsory. Absences wise, it's different for different subjects. Most of the time you can get away with a couple absences as long as you either, you make up the class or if you provide a good excuse. It really depends on the professor as well. Some of them are quite strict. They might, there's different ways of making up for it. You can make up for a class, the same class that week, or they might ask you to write some essays or whatever. I should mention that, so on our course, we're in groups of 12. I think that's typical for Eastern European universities. I'm not sure about Georgia. And we have a coordinator. So someone within that group of 12 is appointed as coordinator. Everyone in the group agrees, okay, so this person will be coordinator. And really all it is just communicating with the professor. So the professor doesn't have to send information and resources by email or message to like every single person in the group. They can just send it to the coordinator and the coordinator passes it on. So it's just a point of contact really for the professor.
I would say, by the way, coordinator is quite a highly respected role. Depending
no, it is. Don't get me wrong.
To that, because me and Inaam, we're both coordinators of a group.
Yeah. So a lot of UK universities these days, they do this thing called PBL or CBL, which is, I don't know if you've heard of that, Heather. It's problem-based learning or case-based learning. So,
yeah,
so
I've heard of it,
yeah, it's like kind of based on like the latest research. It's something that they're doing in Western countries like the UK. I think some Northern European countries do a little bit. They've introduced that onto some of their courses as well a little bit. We don't do that here in Eastern Europe. It's very traditional. And so just like with the traditional layout with the preclinical and clinicals, we don't really have case case-based learning. If the audience don't know what that is, they can look it up. But we do have these small groups of 12 people, and we see them all the time. And then we do case studies, in the clinical years. It is somewhat like CBL.
You spend a lot of time with that group as well. Like you're with every
Yeah.
every single class. It's not like you don't change any groups. Like you're with that 12. Or sometimes people leave, sometimes people join. But yeah, for the majority of your time at university, it's with those within that group.
Yeah, we get to know each other really, really well. And that links to socials that I'm sure Arafat will get into later on. So self-study people, I think, want to know, do we have opportunities at the university to do self-study with like the things available? And we do actually, because for anatomy, and I'll mention anatomy again later about cadavers and the resources we have access to, but it comes back to building rapport with your professors, because if you know your professors really well, or if you are on good terms, I should say, sorry, with your professors, then they'll be more likely to do extra classes, or they'll be more likely to let you come in outside of your learning hours and do self-study, so you can use the rooms and use the cadavers and things like that. And we'll have our atlases and our iPads out. We'll be working as a team to figure everything out. But I'll talk a bit about that later. We have a really fantastic anatomy department. It's just recently been expanded and renovated. I felt like it was going to take forever, but they actually did it really quickly. So you have all these new rooms. Like I said, we have access to cadavers, and that's what we usually spend our time doing in anatomy. So the professors, what they do is they'll put what we call pins. So there's actually I think it's like hypodermic needles or something, but they'll pin these anatomical structures, and we'll go over it. We'll go over it ourselves. So like I said, they'll leave us to it. We'll have our atlases and iPads, and so there's a lot of freedom there. And then in terms of dissections, so we've never done dissections ourselves. I'm not sure if we'll have an opportunity to do them in later years, but I'm sure we could shadow professors. I found out from the website that there is a 3D interactive table for virtual dissections, but we haven't used it on our course so far. And then one more thing I should mention. This might sound a bit odd, but we do have PE, physical education, in first year, and that's once a week. And yeah, it's a bit of fun. They have an AstroTurf for football. They have tennis courts. They have basketball courts, and they have a gym for weight training, free weights, and everything. So there'll be something that you'll want to do. Another thing to mention is extracurricular learning in terms of medicine. So we have something called PALS, which I think a lot of schools and universities have. It stands for Peer Assisted Learning Strategies. So this is run by students. So this is like a student society or committee, and that can really help in the preclinical years. And there's an OSCE society as well. So these are both student-led groups, and they both do several 5 to 10 sessions every year, and that includes problem-based learning. That includes OSCEs. Even they'll have junior doctors who come in from the UK who graduated from Plovdiv, and you can discuss junior doctor life with them. So that's really cool as well.
Oh wow! What about cadavers? I want to know more about the cadavers.
I mean, I could talk a little bit about that if you want. With cadavers. Yeah. So I mean, it sort of stems into when we if you talk about exams and stuff. So exams, they're sort of so you have your main exams, as Inaam mentioned, in either January, so that's the winter exam period, or you have it during the summer, right? In between, though, we do have these small exams we refer to as colloquiums, and so colloquiums are not for all subjects, but some subjects do them, and they mean different things for different subjects. So, for example, anatomy, which is one of the more interesting ones, there's these colloquiums where there's a practical side and there's a theory side, which is basically MCQs. But the practical side is really interesting, as Inaam was sort of saying. So we have practical lessons for anatomy. We're just sort of looking through the dissections, identifying structures and stuff. And so the teacher, during the colloquium, they would pin those structures, and you're going to be asked to identify them. And it's a really sort of adrenaline-filled moment, because you only get 30 seconds for each pin, and there's separate, but it's really I don't know would you say very intense sort of time there. I don't know, but some people might not like it as much, but I do like it.
Yeah, if you know what, if you've been through the atlas thoroughly and if you know your stuff, it's fine. But if you're like half ready, like really a matter of you got to stay focused in that time because
that time,
the answer might come to you, it might not. So
hundred
the more
percent,
prepared you are, the better, really. But
That's very similar to what we do in the UK as well. Because, before I went abroad, I was actually doing a physician associate course, and the first
Right.
2 years were quite similar to the medicine course. And what we did in first year was it's exactly the same thing as you described, Arafat. So we went in a room, and there was pins on like certain muscles, certain veins, certain arteries, and you had to name them. And it was like a rotation thing. You got given a sheet of paper with a bunch of numbers, and then you just had to write what each label was. And then
Yes,
obviously you hand
exactly
that
that for us.
paper in.
Yes.
Yeah, it was exactly
Yeah.
like that. So, it's quite similar to the UK in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's like stands out for Plovdiv, like the cadavers we use are like, if I took like they're really really fresh. I've got friends in other universities. They tell me like the cadavers are old. They're like you can barely see any structures. But our one, like I think that, as Inaam mentioned, it's like one of the highlights I'd say of the course. Like these anatomy that you even in the UK in some universities you don't get to see these full dissections like how we see them.
Does it not creep you out sometimes just seeing like a body
You know
on the
what? You
table?
get used to it really quick. I
Yeah.
feel. There is
Wow.
that smell of formaldehyde, so some people do get a bit dizzy. But for the most part, I think everyone gets used to it. You know what freaks you out? Like if you ever, so they do keep the faces covered. By the way, they
Yeah.
like put a cloth or something over it. But sometimes that cloth does maybe slip out. So if you ever see the face, it can get a bit daunting. So other
Wow.
than that, really, it's life, isn't it? Yeah. So you just
I try to remind myself that the person whose body we're examining, they obviously consented. This is what they wanted. This is what they
yeah exactly.
were okay with, and there is of course these are students who are learning because they want to become doctors. They want to help people. So it's in a way it's a very commendable thing that they're giving their bodies over to science and learning and helping people. So it's definitely an honor to
Yeah,
to be
100%,
It is an honor,
100%.
yeah.
examining
I've
their
got a
body.
Feel very
question for you
privileged to do
guys.
so. Yeah.
I've
So
got a
then,
question for
okay,
you.
go ahead. So
Would you donate your body to science?
it's a bit of a sticky one.
I'm quiet for a
Personally,
reason.
personally, I don't know, man. It's just I don't know.
It
Wait,
is a
I
sticky
don't
one,
know. You
isn't it?
won't feel
It's a
anything,
sticky
but like
one. It's
I feel like
definitely something that you should really sit down and think about after.
yeah, I think it's one
Time,
for
yeah.
like maybe later in life. But at the moment, I'll tell you no. But maybe in the future, I don't know. I know. Do you have any response to that?
Um, I would have to. I've never really thought about it, to be honest. If I did think about it, whatever if I did decide, hey, I'm okay with that idea. I like that idea. Then then the next step would be I'd have to consult an imam or a
Oh yeah,
scholarly
true,
person
Yeah,
and
true, yeah.
find
how
out
Islamic is this? Yeah.
yeah,
I'm not
because
too
ultimately
sure if
that's what
religion
matters the
allows it
most.
as well.
Yeah, that would matter the most. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, back to sort of the colloquium. The whole
Okay.
reason for the colloquium, if you perform well. So at the moment, it's if you average sort of like a 90% across the practical side, across the MCQs, the theory side, you're actually exempt from a part of the exam, part of the final exam. So final exams, in general, it can change depending on the subject. You have like an MCQ, you have an essay portion, and some do include the oral portion as well, right? So if you do well in those colloquiums, you can be exempt from, for example, the MCQ portion, right? So it has that advantage. So that's why people want to do well on it. And also in the final exam, there's also a practical exam. If you do well during the colloquiums, you're exempt from the practical exam as well. So you can see how it benefits the student, like to do it sort of gives them a little bit of drive to do well. For other subjects, I mean, there's colloquiums, but they don't mean as much. So for physiology, for example, you just have to sort of pass the colloquium. I think it's a good way just for like to keep you up to date with what you're learning, because of course we know how student life is. People get busy, they forget to study certain subjects, so it sort of forces them
Yeah,
to
true.
study a
It
subject.
keeps
You
you
know
on
what I
the
mean?
ball, definitely.
People say they hate exams. Of course I hate exams, but exams keep you on top of things. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they force you to study like when you really don't want to. So Yeah, I think that it plays a role in that. So
And if you are studying, it helps you to see if your studying is effective, or if you're
exactly,
at, or if you are
yeah,
at where you think you are at, because this way you're assessing your level. So it's good
100%.
for that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So to talk about the final exam, as I was saying, there's MCQ, there's a essay, there's an oral. So MCQs are MCQs. They normally, for most subjects, they give you like examples of MCQ. They give you like, for example, anatomy's got an MCQ booklet which you can buy,
Right. Okay.
and you can sort of go through the MCQs. They're not going to be the same as those, but very similar, like similar sort of questions, right? Then you go, normally you have to, for most subjects as well. Actually, I don't know, like, so some subjects you have to pass the MCQ part to move on to the essay part. Some of them it's not really the case. It's like it's what you get overall through the MCQ and essay. So if you do get to the essay part, essay parts are normally, they normally give us what they call like a conspectus that has a load of essay topics. I'm talking 90, 100 topics, right? And you're supposed, the exam day is actually quite daunting because you go into the exam and there's all these essay topics that you could be tested on. And what happens is a student comes, so the teacher who's running this exam session pick a student picks a topic from out of the hat, and that's the topic you have to write about. So out of like, you can imagine 90 topics, one topic will come up. Actually, two topics come up, and you have a choice of one of the two. And so, yeah, you really need to be on your board, like, in order to be successful in those. So that's normally the essay part for most of the subjects. And then we also, I mean, some subjects, they do have different kind of testing. For example, first year chemistry, it's more like would you say that more of an applied sort of exam? I'm like sort of, it's like a mix. It's not just that, it's not essay questions like, oh, is it? It's more to do with.
If you remind me, I think chemistry it was MCQs and long answer questions. Or was it mainly just
Yeah, like long
was it,
answer
yeah
questions and like drawing
yeah
structures, drawing different schemes and stuff like
yeah
that.
yeah yeah
So
yeah
there was
yeah
a
we
lot.
were
So it does
with
change varying on
chemistry.
the subject. Yeah. By
Yeah.
the way, I don't know if mentioned. I don't think like first year is sort of like a leveling year. If you want, like you got loads of people coming from everywhere, and so during the first year, you actually go through topics like biology. Okay, it's understandable, it's medicine, but you actually go through things like physics. You go through topics like chemistry as well. So I think it's sort of like to bring everyone up to that level, like to a good like science level. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So everyone's like has the sort of foundation to build up on. Yeah. So yeah, you actually do surprisingly do physics. I don't know. Hayden, did you guys do anything like that in first year?
Yeah,
Maybe.
so I mean, like you said, first year is pretty much they do the basic subjects like biology and chemistry. We did medical physics, so they try to relate it to medicine as much as possible.
Yeah, no, definitely,
Uh,
it's related to medicine, 100%.
yeah,
But
and I
at
think
times you
it's the
think it's
same
not.
reason. Like they just want to bring everyone onto the same level, to be honest.
Yeah, so you get a lot of those subjects. So yeah, I mean, just to write like the subjects in first year, yeah, biology, chemistry, biophysics, and metaphysics. That's what we call them, medical
Right.
physics. And we also have anatomy, as we mentioned before. Am I forgetting anything? No, I think that's first year, really. And biology, you get a little bit of what we call parasitology. So you look at different parasites. Quite interesting
Okay.
topic, actually.
Did you mention histology?
Oh yeah, we have histology. So it's
Yeah.
a module called cytology, histology, and embryology. Not
Yeah.
much embryology to be fair, but like a lot of histology. I know that's like the dreaded subject among like
Everyone
a medical
hates
student.
histology.
Everyone hates it. But you know what? I say first year is not too bad. I think in third or fourth year when we do like pathophysiology, it'll get much worse. But yeah, so there's a lot of like microscope work during first year, and you actually get microscopes in anatomy. So like as well for in second year. So it's a lot of that. So that's exams. So that's mainly exams, and then oral exams. Yeah, we've really in first year to be fair, we didn't have many oral exams. I think just for maybe chemistry, if I'm not wrong. No, yeah. So just sort of
Oh.
chemistry for first year. In second year, we'll be seeing way more oral exams, I believe. We have it for physiology and biochemistry, and it's sort of, you know what, surprisingly, like people are really apprehensive about the oral exams. They don't feel like doing it. They feel like they're gonna get grilled by the teachers, which it sometimes is, of course. But at the same time, it can bring your like grade up. So if you're not able to express yourself in the written exams, like oral exams is the way to go. Like you can sort of shine through oral
I
exams.
think it's a good way to demonstrate that you do have knowledge, but maybe not knowledge on on everything. Like, for example, if they ask you a question and you're struggling, then there's a flexibility that they can just change the question, or they can shift it to something that you do know, or whereas you don't have that with written questions, and that might be tricky with an essay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's some things like you can only express through words, then like orally, then rather than writing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
oral
yeah, go ahead.
exams, they do seem a bit annoying because you have to just say what you know, and some
Yeah.
people, they can't exactly say what they know off the top of their head because obviously in medicine there's a lot of content to be studied. So not everyone knows it straight away. But the thing is, I feel like it helps you when you go out onto the wards, because when you're on the wards, you're gonna have to communicate with the patients. You're gonna have to think on the spot. So I saw it's not. I know it's not the same, but it's close.
Yeah.
You're in front of the teacher. The teacher asks you questions, and you have to get it right. If you don't get it right, there's gonna be consequences. Obviously, the consequences are not so much to compared to the ward, but
Yeah,
it's
of course. Yeah.
somewhat-
I see the parallel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's just sort of like what's that saying, that if you know something, you'll be able to explain it, right? Something. I don't know. No, do you know the? I
If
think
you
Albert
know it,
Einstein
you'll
said
be
something.
able to teach it to your grandma or something like that.
Exactly, yeah. It's sort of like, yeah. So if you're able to say it, I think that shows that you have a good grasp on the subject. So we don't really see it for anatomy, but subjects like physiology, biochemistry, as I mentioned, and there's a few others. But definitely, what I know from like older years and stuff, there's loads more oral exams in the clinical years. So it's really perfect. I think I don't know, in Georgia, do you guys get as much oral exams? Or?
Yeah, we do. So
Yeah.
well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for that very in-depth and comprehensive analysis of Bulgaria. So
Yeah,
there
no
were a
worries.
lot of similarities, and there are some like minor differences. So I'll just start, from the beginning. Lectures, seminars, everything was pretty much similar. We have a lecture, and then straight after we have like a seminar. We call them practical classes. And in the practical classes, we just discuss the topic. The teacher will ask us questions. And we have oral exams pretty much like once every 2 weeks for each subject. Or even every week. It really depends on the teacher, to be honest. So again, same style as you guys. She'll call you up to the front. She'll ask you a few questions. If you get it right, you get the points. If you don't get it right, you don't get the points. You might get half a point if you had some knowledge of the content. So I guess it really just depends on you. The preclinical years, yeah, pretty much the same. You study all the preclinical subjects. You got pathology, physiology, anatomy, histology. Can't list them off like on top of my head now, but it's pretty much everything that a UK students would study as well. So everything like coincides with that. Clinical exposure, obviously I'm not in the clinical years yet, but I've have some friends who are in the clinical years now, and they're saying that it is very, very helpful. Like they do get a lot of clinical exposure. Sometimes, if you know a bit of Georgian, you get to speak to the patients, and some people have claimed that they have like a checklist as well. So you have to tick off certain activities that you need to do in the clinic. And surprisingly, for the OSCEs, you do the OSCEs, some do it in the hospital, but in the clinical years, I've heard that the pass boundary is very, very high. Like you need to get at least like 95%.
Yeah.
So that was, at first, that scared a lot of people. But to be honest with you, you can't really mess up when you're that far into the course. So it sort of pushes you to
Makes sense,
know
yeah.
your stuff.
100%.
English fluency, same as Bulgaria, everyone's fluent, and these guys are very, very talented. So big shout out to all the professors. They know fluent English. They know they're very, very skilled, and they're very talented at what they do. They're good at teaching as well. The only difference I really found is we don't have cadavers.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah, we don't have cadavers.
you guys don't have cadavers. Yeah.
No, so that's why I was surprised when you guys said you guys have cadavers. I was like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what we have instead is we have like this anatomage table. It's like a 3D anatomage interactive table sort of thing, and we've got two of those. So whenever we need to look at something, we just use a table, take the muscles out, move the muscles about. The teacher can test us, what is this, what is that. You can highlight certain things.
Thick and detailed, is it?
everything like is very, very good.
In my head, I'm just imagining like the Iron Man scene. Like, is it like a hologram sort of thing, or is it just like on the table?
No, it's just a table, and there's like
Yeah,
a
I don't think we're
massive
there. I don't think
screen.
we're quite there yet.
Yeah.
Hologram.
I was thinking, man, Georgia ahead of the curve here. You know what I mean?
Maybe in Harvard, bro. Maybe in Harvard they got a hologram there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
MIT.
Literally. In terms of
I mean,
exams and stuff, yeah, we have midterm exams. My midterm's actually coming up in 2 weeks, so that's out of 20 marks. And we have final exams as well, which are out of 40. And then in between, you have like a bunch of quizzes, you have a bunch of oral exams. And at the end of the year, you get a mark out of 100. So everything plays into that.
right.
And the grade boundary, we get grades as well, like A, B, C, D, and E. But surprisingly, like the grade boundaries are so high. Like you need a 91 out of 100 to get an A, and that is across everything: midterms, finals, quizzes, orals, everything. So out of everything, you're only allowed to lose 9 marks to get an A,
Wow. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's crazy.
which is crazy if you
Yeah.
ask me, to be honest. So anything above a B is is good.
It's probably worth mentioning. Our grading system is like, I think it's across a lot of other Eastern European countries, like graded 1 to 6, 6 being the highest, 1 the lowest.
Okay.
I think Ukraine was 1 to 5.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
the
said
1 to 5,
1 to
yeah.
5, yeah.
So 1 to 6 is the 1R one. So yeah, 3 is a pass, right? And then
Yeah.
yeah. So you want to just, I think in med school, like everyone's just like, let's just pass this exam. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about getting the highest. But there are obviously, of course, some students like who take pride in that. But yeah, some like, like at some point you just have to say, just take the pass, man. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
No,
So
no.
I think it's also probably worth mentioning the recip side of things as
Yeah,
well.
definitely
If
Oh
you
recent.
yeah,
do,
so
if
how
you
does
do,
that work in
yeah, yeah.
Bulgaria?
So basically, what is you have this exam period, and then there's a recip period in the summer, and there's a recip period just before the new year starts in September. So the one in the summer is like literally like a week after the normal exams, and not all. Like, it depends on the subject when they would do the recip, but yeah, you can do the recip within that period. So you do get a chance to resit exams. There's something called liquidation, where it's basically the last resit for the exam, and yeah, hopefully you pass it then. But if you don't pass it, well, in our uni, we got like the policy where you can pass on exams to the next year. So you don't have to necessarily pass all exams at the first attempt. So I think in first year you can carry over a maximum of 2 exams. Second year's 2 exams, and I think it gets slightly more into when you go to third year. You can carry on like maybe 3 exams, if I'm not wrong. But in terms of, I mean, comparing it, maybe I don't know how it is in. I think like in Georgia, is that the same sort of? Do you guys get to resit
No,
as many
so
times,
that's
or is
actually
it?
a difference in our uni. So in Georgia, we only have one chance to resit, and if you fail that resit, you fail the subject, and you have to resit this the whole entire subject. In terms of exams, I actually want to talk about something. So our exam hall, they've just renovated it, and
Right.
now there's a Face ID system to actually get
Oh,
inside the
is it?
hall.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
first you have to check your name on the board where you sat, your seat number, and once you've checked your seat number, you obviously have to take your coat off, take your bags off, make sure nothing's in your pockets. And there's a guy there with like those in the airport, those metal scanners and stuff.
Oh, metal detectors.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So he fully just scans that head to toe. He scans everyone, and then you have to walk through the barriers. And before you walk through the barriers, you have to scan your face, and then that will
Right.
allow you to go into the exam or not.
Wow.
And once you've gone through the barriers, next you obviously have to sit in your designated place, right? The way they check this is they said, oh, you have to bring your passport as well, or like any form of ID. To your desk, and then during the exam, they're just gonna walk around and they're gonna check your ID. And
Wow. Yeah.
if you mess up on any stage, or if you're caught lacking, basically if you're trying to cheat, they're gonna throw you out straight away. And what happened
Wow.
once is, and they're so strict about it, they want to follow everything by the book. Like there cannot be any chances of cheating, right? So what this guy did was he left his passport outside, and the lady came to check. She goes, "Where's your ID?" She goes, "Oh, I'm really sorry. My ID is in my bag. Can I quickly go get it?" She goes, "No, you're not allowed to go get it. Even though the bag was right outside the room." She goes, "No, you're not
Wow.
allowed to get it. Your exam paper's cancelled. Please leave the hall." I was
Wow.
like, wow.
Yeah, that seems
I'm
that
there
seems
checking,
harsh,
I'm
man.
there double checking my passport and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, nerves are already high with exams. Like that on top of it must be stress, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I mean,
there was another girl as well who accidentally, and I do believe it was accident by accident as well because she's a very innocent girl.
okay.
But she sat in the seat right next to her, like she just got mixed up by the numbers or something. I don't know what happened, but she was sat on the wrong seat, and the invigilator came, checked the ID. She goes, "You sat in the wrong seat." She goes, "Oh,
Oh,
really?" And then she checked the number on the laptop. She goes, "Oh, I'm really sorry. It was supposed to be this one. Can I just move over?" She goes, "No, please log out and leave the hall. Your exam paper's cancelled." I
wow,
was like,
wow.
"Wow."
That's crazy. That's
She
crazy.
was
Yeah, that sounds
actually
very
about to
harsh.
start crying, but I felt bad. I was.
Yeah, I would have felt bad for it as well, man. That's crazy. I mean, our one, it's not. I don't think it's that extensive in terms of the secret. Yeah, it's probably what mentioned. Basically, we have these red books, which red
Okay.
books are the most important thing you have at uni. Yeah, because actually, to be honest, I don't know how important they are nowadays, but I remember like older years telling us like how important it is to keep it because in these red books you get the signatures. I think Inam mentioned when you pass the subject. So on that red book, there's a picture of you as well, and it's got your details, and so they just use that to check if you're the right person.
I feel like it's important and it's not important. I mean, I don't think it's the end of the world if you were to lose it, but I don't know for sure. But we do have electronic records of our grades, and we can access our grades on the school portal as well. But
Okay.
definitely
Yeah.
historically, it would have been very, very important because it would have been the only record of your grades. But nowadays, obviously, we have digital records. But
I guess
Yeah,
it's
so
very
I'm not sure how
exhausting,
much,
isn't it?
but it's just I've heard stories from older years like where someone's like misplaced their red book, and now they've had to go and get signatures all the way back from first year. So maybe it's not the case now, but it's just best to have always like keep your red book safe, right?
Mm.
I
yeah,
think our
definitely.
groups, me and like we both keep our like groups books like together.
You're like the fathers of your group.
Yes, yes, we are.
Talking about fathers, what's the age the gap between you and the other students? And are there
Wow,
any
wow,
other?
very
Why,
good.
like, why are you assuming that I'm comfortable talking about my age?
We're not that old, man. You know what, man? We just, you know, man. What do you want to say, man? Here.
I mean, like,
So
is there
I'm
students? Because some people might want to come to study in Bulgaria or Georgia,
Oh
but they're
yeah, of course.
thinking
Yeah,
that
of course. Yeah.
everyone's 18 years old. There's no one really
No, no,
Oh
older.
no,
yeah,
no. Of
no,
course.
no. I
Yeah.
mean, like, yeah, there's some diversity in terms of ages. I think there's a student who's like 30 something, his early 30s. I met a guy the other
There's
day
therefore
who's
other students as well in their
29.
30s. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, yeah. Most students are 19, 20. I think a lot of them took a year out after college. So a lot of them start the course at about 19 or 20.
Yeah.
Um, but there's definitely quite a few students in their mid-20s as well.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean,
who,
yeah. In my
who,
group
yeah.
myself, like I've got one of my classmates, one of my his good friend now. He's just like a year younger than me. So I don't know. Inam, do we want to mention ages or are we are we too sensitive?
No, I mean, like,
Me and Inam were
I
both
didn't, I didn't,
27.
I didn't even mention which city I'm from. I'm from the UK.
All right, yeah. Maybe
You
it's
only
too
have my
early.
first name.
Yeah, I don't know how much we should be giving out, man. Well, I don't mind say yeah, but to be honest, man, the youth, they keep us young in it. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
we try to be big brothers when we can. You know what I mean? Lend some experience.
They remind you of your youth back in the 1980s.
Man,
Oh yeah,
man
yeah.
said 1980s.
It was a different world
Yo,
back
man.
then.
Someone say you know what? Someone I think in Arm's group said Inam was born back in the 1900s. Yeah, when I said
Yeah.
it like that,
No, no,
it
no. I
sounded
was,
crazy.
I was, I was born in the 1900s, but they said 1965, and that's just that's
Yeah,
a few years off. So like, it was a bit insulting.
yeah. And we're proud 90s babies, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it works as well. Like, you like older maybe students might not think, oh, you're gonna be stuck with a bunch of 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. But honestly, during uni, I feel like uni, it's not like secondary school or anything like that. Everyone's like interested in the subject.
Yeah. True.
Everyone's
True.
open, and yeah, it's a good
Everyone's
collaborative.
professional, and anyone who doesn't come in with a professional type mentality, like they have to grow up quickly.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
they're,
Yeah.
they're forced to, and you know, I feel like this university, it does filter out people that need a bit more time to kind of grow, and maybe they weren't ready to come to university. So yeah, especially living abroad, like I wouldn't. I'm really. By the way, I'm really impressed with some of these like 19-year-olds 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds who are studying here, because I wouldn't have been able to go abroad. Like, I mean, I went to University of Leicester, and I was living, you know, away from my family, but it was still the UK, and there wasn't any culture shock, and I wasn't, you know, completely independent. But the students that have come here, you know, it's a different country, it's a different type of thing. So it's really I'm really impressed with them. They definitely, you know, be prepared to meet a lot of, you know, bright, mature students, like in terms of their
Yeah, I guess that's
personality and stuff.
university culture, isn't it? I think that's pretty much universal. I think that goes for pretty much
Yeah,
every single
definitely.
uni out there. I
Yeah.
remember when I came to Ukraine, I was only, what, like 20, 21, and you guys obviously were a couple of years older than me. And I was thinking, wow, like I've just come from a place where I had a bunch of friends who were my age, and now I've got you guys. But to be honest with you, that actually helped me because it helped me to grow. Inaam, Arafat, you guys, Has, Darab, shout out to you guys as well, Lukman.
Gonna
You
make
know,
me tear up, man.
we had our little group, didn't we? And
Yeah.
all of you guys were, you know, slightly older than me. But to be honest, I feel like that did help me grow quite a lot.
And we weren't that much older than you, but I bet we
Yeah, he's
all kind
acting
of
like we're
felt.
10 years older than him.
Yeah, yeah, I
That's
know.
crazy.
But
I'm
we're
okay,
only,
man. We're just like, what? We're 2 years older than you, mate.
no,
Yeah,
but
I
no,
think
but
about
it's
two,
a
three
good, it's a
years.
fair
Yeah,
point, because
Nah,
that
but
2 years
it's fair.
makes a difference at that age. In your early 20s, 2 years
Yeah.
makes a big difference.
it
And
does.
I do notice that, like, you know, the sometimes the way people handle problems. Some of my colleagues, like, who are a lot younger than me, like 7 years younger than me or so, they they handle problems like in a way that I would have handled it back then, but maybe it's not the best way to handle it. You know, they might make a big deal out of something that's a small thing, and without kind of, they don't have that perspective that you get, you know, after a few more years of life, um, where you realize that some problems are just not worth fussing about and not worth worrying about. But it's amazing. I get to see these guys growing, right? Like actually maturing so much, and I am as well still, you know. So
Yeah, of course. But if
yeah,
any of them say I'm
great.
pushing 30, it's I'm not talking to them, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Put it like crazy.
All right. So, which one out of you two is more of a social person?
Or if I
Oh.
just say it, man, just say it. It's fine.
Nah, man, I think we're social in our own ways. You know what I mean?
I think
Yeah.
Arafat is you. I think you're more of a social person. So this question goes to you. How is
No, but social. What do you mean by like social?
like
As in,
making friends, going out, meeting
oh yeah,
people?
none of that, to be honest. Yeah,
No,
I'm
don't
joking.
get me
I'm
wrong.
joking.
Like I value like forming deep, meaningful connections with people.
Yeah.
But my naturally, I feel like for me, like my circle of friends is like it's a small one. Like I like to keep you know, a few good people close to me. But don't get me wrong. Like you know, that gets boring. You know, you do want to have like a big group of mates that you can, you know, go do stuff with, and that's what this affords to you. You know, go like university, like it actually, you know, especially it's great for people like me, because I'm not naturally extroverted or social. I don't really go out of my way to make friends, but by throwing me into the situation where I'm in a group, my academic group of 12 people, and then my flatmate is in a different group of 12 people, including him, then now I've got all these people that I can, you know, that are asking me, you know, do I want to go to this thing or that thing, or you know, play football or go pool or whatever it is. I'll let Arafat, you know, go through
Oh
all
yeah, that
the
just yeah.
social activities. But
Just to just to speak a little bit about. I think it is quite important even to like have friends and stuff because being abroad, like especially because you're far away from family. It's not like if you were studying like away from home in the UK, you can like come home maybe, but when you're out there, sort of, you don't come home as often, and yeah, like keep it like your friends sort of become your family in a way. So do you know what I mean? So it becomes like your support system. Like it just keeps you like I mean us like humans, we're social creatures, right? We want to talk, we want to like talk with our friends, go out with friends and stuff. So maybe not everyone, but yeah, um, I think it plays a like important role in developing you as a person, right? And so yeah, I mean, friend situation right now, I just keep up with the real ones, you know. The ones in my my group, we got a lot of quite a few boys there, and I'm really close with all of them now. Like we're varying ages from like 20 to 27. I don't know who the 27-year-old is, but we sort of yeah, we like surprisingly we all get along. Like we have a laugh and stuff. And yeah, like sort of mentioned there, like we like to sort of go out in our free times, of course, like just like play football. I currently can't play football. I had an ACL injury, but the boys do actually. And like yeah, we do things like go out to eat, sort of thing, play pool, sometimes go on walks and stuff. Like there's quite a few places you can hike in Plovdiv. But yeah, that's sort of what life is like in terms of social life. I mean, there's also some societies being run at Plovdiv Medical University. So similar to the UK, where you have uni societies, you've got stuff like I forget the name of them. Stuff like Somali
TikTok,
Society.
well,
What's the other ones? Societies?
the
I forget now.
Nepalese society. A lot of them are
Nepalese
based on,
Society.
on nationality or background.
Yeah. To be honest, these societies are very inviting. Like they you don't have to be of their nationality. It's not just nationality, by
Of
the way.
course, yeah.
Yeah, there's other stuff like I forget the names of them, but yeah, there's things to do, and like they put up events and they invite everyone to go. Yeah, I think me and we're a bit older, so we don't like attend them as often. But yeah, it's good to know that they're there.
Well, also, I want to say what's great about like these societies based around ethnicity or nationality is because they get to come together and then share their culture with everyone else, like especially the food. Like if you like food, then it's great. You show up to Somali society, it's Somali food. Same with whatever other society. So what do you say was the African society? I think there's one. I don't know if it's to do with the African society. There's like a Christian society. There's like
yeah,
gospel
separate
singers.
society.
Yeah. Yeah, so they get to share their culture and their
Yeah, that's quite similar in Georgia as well. Like in terms of clubs and society, we just call them clubs, not really societies, to be honest.
Right. Okay,
I mean, you got the main ones. Obviously, you got Pakistani society, but I think that sort of died down a little bit. There's basketball club. There's table tennis club. There's hiking club. We've got a list of different clubs as well. Like there's futsal, football club.
we have a
badminton
calisthenics
society.
club.
Calisthenics. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard much about it recently, but
yeah, it's there though.
definitely. Yeah, it's there.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we have a lot of clubs as well. And in terms of social life for Georgia, there's a lot of things to do outside. The city does have a lot of stuff to offer. There's bowling, obviously there's pool. You can play football with the locals. You can play basketball with the locals, or by yourself. You can just go for a walk.
I mean, I think Plovdiv is a bit smaller than that. Tbilisi is massive, isn't it? So
yeah.
Plovdiv
Tbilisi is the capital city in Georgia.
Yeah, it's capital city. Plovdiv sort of like a secondary city, or like it's not as populous as Tbilisi. So I think it's less things to do maybe, but at the same time I think it's well equipped for like student life. Like you get that really homey feeling when you're in Plovdiv, which I sort of really like. I'm from London. I know how big city it is, but like Plovdiv, it seems more like a student life. Do you know what I mean? Like it's more suited for student life, I feel.
Do you know the population of Tbilisi? Because when we were in Dnipro, Ukraine, like I don't know if we realized quite how big that city was, but it was a big city, and there's like 1 million people.
It's definitely going to be bigger than Dnipro.
Really? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I'm just going to do a quick Google search now.
Probably like in the maybe in the tens of millions, maybe like 10 million.
No, that's like Cairo.
No,
that's too much. It'll be 1.5 million or something.
Yeah, Wikipedia is saying 1.2 million.
Oh, okay. Is it? Oh, okay. I thought Dnipro was in the millions. No?
Really?
Yeah. Dnipro was 1 million. Now it's like 900,000.
Wow.
Okay.
But Kiev though, oh man, like that would probably be like 3 million or something. I'm not
sure. Oh
yeah.
No, of course, yeah.
Do you remember?
I don't know if you wanted me to talk about the city a little bit.
Yeah, sure, man.
It's sort of like a smaller city. There's like a main center called the Kapana. That's where like a lot of shops and
the
stuff
naughty
like
boys
that.
go.
Sorry, what?
That's where the naughty boys go. So,
I think he's alluding to like the clubbing scene and stuff. Yeah, me and Inaam, of course, don't partake in such activities.
Of course.
But there's like the big mosque is there as well. A really beautiful mosque actually. It's been there I think for like last 600 years, so it's really cool to see every time you go in. There's a lot of like restaurants and stuff like near there. Outside of it, really, there's things to do like here and there. There's a lot of park. You know what? Surprisingly, there's a lot of parks around. So that's the thing we like. Me and my friends like to do a lot, like go park late at night as well. Like, so, and by the way, yeah, in terms of like safety and stuff, like I don't know about. I obviously talking from like a boy perspective, male perspective. Like it seems very safe. Even the girls like in our unit, they say they feel safe. So in that regards, if anyone's concerned about like me and like disclaimer, me and Inam are like Asian. We have brown skin, so like it's never been a problem, anything like that. We haven't really faced
At
any.
the end of the day, obviously, it's a city, and you got to use your common sense. I guess
Yeah, of
maybe
course.
like
Yeah, you have to have your wits about you. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
If someone's like an 18-year-old who's never lived away from family or is a bit sheltered, they might not realize like that you have to, city life. I mean, it's the same pretty much everywhere in most of the world. Like you got to take precautions. Don't go out too late. If you're gonna go out late, then walk around in a group. Even in the daytime, maybe in some areas, if it's not a built-up area, then walk around in a group.
Yeah, just have like the common sense about it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you don't want to be out too late. You don't want to be going places where you shouldn't be. Do you know what I mean? So it's just to have the like normal common sense when you're out when you're out and about. I mean, and in terms of the people there, if you wanted like the actual Bulgarians, I mean, I feel like I've been like across like sort of Eastern Europe a little bit now, and I feel like the people are very nice. Like
Yeah,
there's
I
not like
can
there's
agree
not
with that.
Inam, if you wanted to say like something there.
No, I'm just agreeing. Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like people are very friendly.
people are very friendly. Yeah. So
Yeah,
more time, like it's like if you don't bother them, they don't bother you. It's like I always say that, and people are very nice. Yeah, a lot of people like in terms of like a lot of the as I sort of mentioned, like a lot of the younger generation speak English, so you can have a
Yeah,
chat with them
yeah.
sometimes. Like even when we're playing in the park, they'll come and start like playing football with us, stuff like that. So they're really friendly in that sense. In terms of like Bulgarian students, we like there's some people who mix with the Bulgarian, like they talk like I'll be honest, it's a bit hard to. I see people who have Bulgarian friends, but it's sometimes a little bit hard, of course, because they like most of the time speak Bulgarian, but they are friendly. Like when you come across them at university and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say it's the same thing in Georgia as well. Like people are very friendly and they do speak a lot of English. And to be honest, like initially I thought before coming to Georgia, not a lot of people were gonna speak English, but that actually wasn't the case. And a lot of the youth actually speak English. And even if I wanted to learn Georgian, there's a lot of support out there for me. And again, people are very nice. People are very kind. They're very welcoming, very warm people in Georgia. So
yeah,
yeah.
100%, 100%.
So yeah, I mean that pretty much covers everything, guys. So just to finish off the episode, if you had to describe Bulgaria, your experiences, in one sentence, or if you were talking to a person who was applying to Bulgaria, what would you say to them in just one simple sentence, just to sum up everything?
Inam, you wanna go first?
you mean so someone who's applying to Bulgaria, someone who's considering Bulgaria?
Yeah,
You mean?
someone who's
So how would I?
considering applying to Bulgaria and they just want to know what it's like. And if you had
Are
to
they applying from the
describe one
UK?
sentence to describe
I'll
Bulgaria,
summarize it in one word.
okay, go on.
They're
Even
applying
better.
from the UK, right? I'd say
Yeah.
warm, right? And that one word
Um,
has more than one meaning. I mean,
This one's he's always deeper, you know. Like he the double
literally.
entendres, the triple entendres, like it goes past a lot of people's heads, but he's a master of words, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, no, he is. He is. You know, I'm a
It's
master of words for sure.
it's quite literally warm, especially in the summer. But the people are also very warm and friendly.
If someone from the UK is applying to, I mean, if they're like sort of on the fence of whether or not they should come, I'd just say just do it, man. The
Just do it.
famous words of Nike, but yeah, just go for it. It's a really like unique experience. I think you really get to experience life in a different way. Do you know what I mean? Like, and especially like in a different culture. You meet new people, and like, it's overall it's a really like fun experience. I'd say. Yeah, I think it's if you're definitely thinking about it, definitely. If you're applying simultaneously UK and Bulgaria, like don't be too what's the word saddened or like dismayed about coming to Bulgaria, because it's a really good option in terms of like as we discussed in the podcast, like education wise, social wise, like in all those facets, it's really really good. So yeah, if you're ever thinking about it, just do it. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, and to be honest, guys, I'd probably say the same thing about Georgia as well. Like studying in Georgia, it's been a chill mix of like good education, low costs, and there's the culture is very nice as well, and it can offer a lot of new experiences as well.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, well, thank you. That's the end of
Thank
the
you for having us,
episode.
Halo, man.
Yeah,
No
thank you,
worries.
Heather, man. It's been a
Man, we
pleasure.
miss you every day, man. Halo, man.
Yeah,
You brought us.
you know what? I'm gonna give you another shout out, Arafat, because I didn't give you one in the first episode. Shout out again to Arafat and Inam for
Yeah, make sure
coming
you
on to
come
this
to. We're
episode.
waiting for Bulgaria, like you to come to Bulgaria, by the way.
Oh, one day, man, one day.
No,
Inshallah.
man. We're
I'll
like
come
I
one day.
always tell you, there's place there for you, but you refuse my invitation repeatedly. So I don't know if I'm gonna.
Heather, I'm coming to Tbilisi. Get my sofa bed ready. Get my
Yeah.
airbed ready. Yeah,
Hey, you might as well.
spare
Or
towels.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so thank you guys for listening as well. Thank you for paying attention to this 1 hour podcast. Seems to be the longest one I've done so far. But if you're a future med student deciding between countries, we hope this helped you weigh your options and get a feel for what life abroad might actually look like. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow the podcast, leave a quick rating or review, and share it with a friend who's thinking about studying medicine abroad or someone who just might find it interesting. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Heda Ali, and I'll catch you in the next one.